Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to dig into information and pull out the key insights for you fast. Today we're tackling a really popular one, Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Feck, our goal. To basically unpack its core ideas, those surprising bits of wisdom. Think of it as your shortcut to getting the main philosophy on, attention, energy, and finding meaning without reading the whole thing cover to cover.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it falls into that self-help kind of life philosophy space, but it really pushes back against a lot of the usual advice. The main takeaway is quite simple, really.
Yeah.
You've got limited energy, limited attention. So you absolutely have to be careful about what you give that attention to. It makes you question what's actually important right from the start.
Okay, let's get into that. The book kicks off with a pretty bold statement in chapter 1. Don't try. I mean, that goes against everything we're usually told, right? How does he make that argument work?
It's a total reframe. Society pushes this idea of constant positivity, always striving, always succeeding. But Manson argues that, well, trying too hard, forcing that positivity, can actually make things worse.
Worse how?
Like leading to feeling inadequate or, hitting despair when things aren't perfect.
Yeah.
The core idea is more about accepting your limits, acknowledging the real struggles you have, embracing actual problems, because confronting those, not pretending they don't exist, is where real growth comes from. It's pragmatic.
So it connects back to that limited energy idea. Don't waste it forcing positivity, maybe.
Exactly. Use it on things that genuinely matter for growth.
Right. And speaking of ideas that make you pause, the next chapter title is Happiness is a Problem. That sounds backwards.
Yeah.
Most of us are trying to find happiness, not see it as a problem. What's the thinking?
It shifts the whole viewpoint.
Yeah.
The book basically says pain and struggle, they're normal, they're part of life, unavoidable. The real problem comes when you try to eliminate all problems. That just tends to create new, maybe worse ones.
Yeah.
So, true happiness, in this view, isn't a life without problems. It's about solving meaningful ones.
Yeah.
Finding satisfaction in the challenges you actually choose to face.
Finding meaning in the struggle, almost.
You can say that, yeah.
Then there's another potentially puff one. You are not special.
Ouch. That could rub some people the wrong way, especially if they've always been told they're unique. What's the upside to embracing that?
Well, it's pushing back against that idea that everyone is extraordinary, which can sometimes lead to entitlement, or just unrealistic pressure. The book argues that accepting you might be, average in many ways is actually freeing.
Freeing? How so?
It lets you off the hook. You don't have to constantly prove you're amazing. It fosters a kind of humility that, ironically, makes real growth easier. You're not crushed by expectation.
Okay, I can see that. Letting go of the pressure.
Yeah.
And building on that, there's a whole section on the value of suffering. That sounds intense. How can suffering be valuable? It's about the why. Everyone suffers, that's a given. But what matters is the reason for your suffering. The key insight is you get to choose, or at least influence, your suffering by choosing your values.
Okay, give me an example.
Like maybe you value honesty. So you choose the suffering of a difficult conversation over the suffering of, say, anxiety from hiding something.
Right.
It connects to living intentionally, directing your energy towards struggles aligned with what you truly care about.
So if we're choosing why we suffer, it follows that we're always choosing how we respond to things too. That seems like a really central point. You are always choosing.
Absolute core. You might not control what happens to you,
Yeah.
external stuff, life-throwing curveballs, but you always choose how you interpret it, how you react. And the book frames taking responsibility for those choices, that internal response, as the real path to power.
Power and freedom.
Exactly. Not controlling the world, but controlling your reaction to the world. That's where your agency is.
Okay. Then the book throws another curveball. You're wrong about everything, but so am I. That's a big statement.
It really is. It's about intellectual humility. Our beliefs, our understanding of things, they change constantly, right? We learn, we grow.
Sure.
So the book stresses being open to the idea that your current view might be wrong, or at least incomplete. Real growth, it argues, doesn't come from clinging to being right. It comes from questioning yourself, being willing to update your views. It fosters adaptability.
Which is pretty crucial. Okay, what about failure? Most people hate failing. The book says failure is the way forward.
Yeah, it completely reframes failure. Success isn't about avoiding failure. It's built on failure. Think about learning anything new, like riding a bike. You fall, you learn, you adjust. Failure is just feedback. It's data telling you what didn't work so you can try something else. It's essential for progress, not the end of the road.
So don't fear it, learn from it.
Basically, yes. Embrace it as part of the process.
Now, Something super practical for today's world. The importance of saying no. We're pulled in so many directions. How does this fit in?
It ties straight back to that limited energy and attention we started with. You literally cannot care about everything. If you try, you spread yourself too thin, you get overwhelmed, ineffective.
Sounds familiar.
Right. So learning to say no to distractions, to opportunities, even to people sometimes, if they don't align with your core values or priorities, it's essential. Manson argues that committing to something truly important requires you to reject other things. You define your focus by defining your boundaries.
Choosing where that finite attention goes.
Precisely.
And the final chapter title, it's pretty stark. And then you die. Bit grim. What's the point of ending on that note?
It sounds morbid, but it's meant as a powerful motivator, a reality check. Life is short. Mortality is universal. We often push that thought away.
True.
But acknowledging it, the book suggests, can create urgency. It reminds you to live authentically, to focus on what really matters to you right now. Don't waste the limited time you have on trivial stuff.
Use death as a perspective tool, essentially.
You got it, to clarify what's genuinely important.
Okay, so we've walked through the main chapters. Let's try and synthesize this for listeners. What are the big overarching takeaways you should pull from this?
Yeah, let's boil it down. First, the big one. Stop trying to give your attention to everything. Your time and energy are precious, finite resources. Choose wisely.
Right. Be selective.
Second, accept that problems and pain are just part of life. They're not bugs, they're features. Meaning comes from engaging with them, not avoiding them.
Okay. What else?
Third, choosing your values is critical. Your values determine what kind of problems you're willing to solve, and that dictates your sense of satisfaction. Fourth, that link between responsibility and power. Owning your choices, your reactions, that's where your real control lies.
Responsibility equals power.
Fifth, embrace failure. Seriously,
Yeah.
it's how you learn. Growth comes from making mistakes and figuring things out. And finally, number 6, live like you mean it. Knowing life is finite should push you to focus on what truly matters to you. Live according to those chosen values.
So putting these together, it really offers a framework for, well, cutting through the noise, right? Reducing that feeling of overwhelm, focusing your energy where it counts.
Exactly. Leading a more intentional, maybe more impactful life by being clear about what you give your attention to.
Yeah.
And that leads perfectly into a final quote from the book itself.
Okay, let's hear it.
Maturity is what happens when one learns to only give a feck about what's truly fick-worthy.
Powerful stuff. So for you listening, what in your life truly earns that focus? What's genuinely feck-worthy for you? And maybe, just maybe, what could you consider letting go of based on what we've unpacked today? Something to think about as you continue your own deep dives.